Next up, we have, last but not least, my dear friend Leslie Shannon of Nokia, who's going to be talking about what problems does the metaverse solve, and hopefully it does solve a lot of problems there. And I will, again, throw this plug for her. She did just release her book, and maybe she'll talk a little bit about that. It just came in the mail yesterday. Everybody, round of applause for Leslie Shannon.
Thank you, Sophia, and thanks everybody. It's the end of a long day, but I'm here to hopefully show you some stuff that maybe you haven't seen before. Now, I'm going to really shamelessly just kind of put that right there because I'm like so excited. It literally did arrive in the mail just yesterday. It's available on Amazon, but you can also come to me if you're interested. What I'm going to be talking about today is kind of the question that I ask in the book, which is, yeah, what problem does the metaverse solve? I am Nokia's head of trend scouting, and I've been looking at new technologies here in Silicon Valley since 2015. Now, just a quick word about Nokia. We sold the handset business to Microsoft 10 years ago, so I am not here because Nokia is planning on making a new virtual reality headset. No. We are currently a business-to-business company selling telecommunications equipment to the phone companies and large enterprises of the world. And the reason my job exists is because there's all kinds of new technologies out there, including a lot of the foundational technologies of the metaverse that need a good network in order to work. And so I'm out there looking for these things, and then I go to the phone companies and I say, hey, there's all this stuff coming up, and you need to build your network so it's going to support things like the distributed computing and low latency that's necessary to support augmented reality. Now, I'm not here to talk about distributed computing and low latency, though. I'm here to talk about the things that I'm seeing as the metaverse develops as a human thing, because as I said, I'm a trend scout in general, and I look at across a wide variety of things, and I talk to companies all the time, and I see good ideas all the time, and not all of them make it to market. Not all of them actually become something, because quite frankly, technology does not become successful unless it solves a problem, and solves that problem for a lower cost than whatever went before, whether that cost is time, money, or, fiddliness. And so that's the question of the metaverse. What problem does this solve? Because it's kind of pointless unless there is something genuine that it is bringing to us. So there's a lot of different kind of flavors of the metaverse out there, and but there is one main problem that the metaverse solves, and that problem is this one. The fact that we have all vanished into our screens, including about 50% of you right now, and we have stopped looking at the world around us, at each other. We have, and I work for Nokia. We kind of caused this. Sorry, guys. But it's because there's functionality. There's amazing functionality and entertainment in those little boxes that we carry around. But we have to take our eyes off of the rest of the world in order to participate with that magic. And so for me, the metaverse, the power of the metaverse, is taking computing out of this little screen or the laptop screen or whatever other screen and locating it in the world around us so that we lift our eyes back up to each other and to the people and the places that actually have meaning. And so with that kind of general thing in mind, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the different flavors of the metaverse and ask this question more specifically about some of the different metaverses that are out there. So let's start off with the traditional kind of, what you think of when you think of the metaverse, which is the I'm an avatar, you're an avatar, and we're in a three-dimensional digital world. And there's really four main flavors of this kind of experience. And one is the blockchain and the Web3 worlds. And I've got here that the focus here is on ownership. That's a really polite way to say money. Like, everything that you do in Web3 ultimately seems to come back to being about money. And that doesn't, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't see that it's solving a problem. I don't see with the exception of NFTs, for artist creation and sustained artist revenue, 100%. But real estate in the Web3 world, I have a hard time seeing the purpose for that. Now, I am open to argument and to having my mind changed, but right now I kind of see that as a really kind of pointless exercise. But of course, over here in the gaming world, completely different world, different story. This is where we've got children earning money through the creation and selling of digital goods and creation of experiences. My 15-year-old son had to file his first income tax return because of money, well, he earned it playing Fortnite, but he earned thousands of dollars as a teenager playing Fortnite. And so these spaces are giving our children opportunity to experience each other and themselves in completely different ways, and this is going to actually really transform our society. That's a whole nother topic. But moving on, then we've kind of got the presence metaverse, the social metaverse, you know, Rec Room, VR Chat, these great places where you go in and you meet other people that you may or may not have, you know, been acquainted with in the physical world, and you do stuff with them and you talk. And then there's kind of the, and play. But then there's the subset of this, which is the enterprise metaverse. I love AWE. I love getting the chance to actually be here in real life with everybody, but I honestly don't know why we're not doing this in the metaverse. Just saying. I love giving presentations in the metaverse. RIP Altspace, that was such a great platform. And so, you know, and because as a presenter, the best experiences for me up here on stage and seeing all of you and seeing if you're like awake or anything and kind of getting that feedback. If we're in a Zoom call, all I see is my slides and it's like, yeah, everybody's probably doing their email. But, you know, but if we're in the metaverse, in whatever world it is, you can actually tell from the avatars. There's, you know, many different ways for people to give feedback during the presentation with streams of emojis or whatever. You reconnect with the people that you're actually there with because you are there with them. And in fact, the metaverse, I'm a huge fan of the enterprise metaverse. Conferences, recruiting. There was a metaverse recruiting fair in Japan just a couple of months ago where people went as avatars. They didn't have to give their actual name, and they were able to ask companies questions anonymously that they wouldn't have had the courage to ask if they had been in person. You know, that's another problem the metaverse solves right there, anonymity when appropriate. You know, onboarding and training, remote team building, and day-to-day togetherness. Now, at Nokia, we're a really global company, and I've been working remotely for the last 10 years. And so, you know, the kind of the rest of the world started doing what we were doing when COVID hit. But one of the problems is I'm not particularly close to my team. You know, I know their names, but I've never met any of them. My manager's in Norway. I've met him a couple of times. You know, but in general, I don't really know the people that I work with at Nokia that well. And so one of the really powerful metaverses that's out there in terms of problem solving on the enterprise side of things is the workspace kind of thing. Now, this is a picture from Xingbang, which is a South Korean company. But I had a long talk with EY, Ernst & Young. They have created their metaverse, WaveSpace, and they use it. And the way that they use it is wonderful. So every day, the metaverse team at Ernst & Young, so it's a PC-based thing, so it's a window, and it's a three-dimensional space, and it's a lot like Xingbang in that it looks like an office, but with, you know, soaring skies and everything. And then they get together and have a stand-up meeting at 9 a.m. every day and just do a quick 5 minutes around. Everybody says what they're working on that day. If they want to turn on their video cameras, they can, so you can actually get the live picture of the person. And then when everybody's done that, just to kind of check in, everybody has a desk, and they all walk their avatars over to their desk, and they leave their avatar standing at their desk, and it's hooked into the calendar system. And so then later in the day, if you have a question, you know, if Olivia has a question that she wants to ask Jack, she can just go back to that window in her PC, which she just left open while she was doing her normal work, and just check and see, is Jack's avatar standing at Jack's desk? If it is, then he's available. And she can walk her avatar over to Jack and go, hey, Jack, did you get that memo? What do you think about this? And then they can have a conversation. And anybody else who is not in a meeting, who is in the group, they can hear that audio coming from the window on their PC. So it's recreating the serendipitous overheard office conversation. If you're in a meeting, though, according to your calendar, your avatar blips out, you're not available. So this is a great way of recreating that human connection, that thing that we are actually missing by not being in the office. So, utility of this metaverse, instantly clear. There are, however, other metaverses that are useless. And useless metaverses really, really bother me. I'm gonna assume that nobody here is from the carrier Orange or from Luxembourg, because I'm about to slam Orange Luxembourg. Orange, the country of Luxembourg, they have a Luxembourg metaverse, and you can download it to your laptop. And like a lot of metaverses that you download to your laptop, it takes a long time for this thing to download and to open. And then you land in it, and I knew the Orange shop was in there somewhere. So I've got an avatar, and I've spawned in kind of this spawn place, and I have to move my avatar through this space and around the flippin' fountain, and 10 minutes later, I finally come to the Orange shop. You know what's in the Orange shop? It's their flippin' web page, just spread out around a three-dimensional looking space. You just wasted 10 minutes of my life, Orange Luxembourg. I will never get that back, and now I hate you. This is the kind of metaverse I have no time for. If you can do it on a web page, do it on a web page. Respect my time. If you have something new to offer me, if you have some kind of presence, if you have some kind of thing that you can't do on a web page, then put it in a metaverse by all means. But not just for the sake of it. Sorry, soapbox. You can tell I give maybe a little too much thought to that situation. But come on, I run into this kind of stuff all the time. I hate it. So, now, in the book, I go through a lot of different metaverses. And so this is going to seem a little bit random because this is kind of a short presentation. But trust me, looking at a huge number of examples of what works and what doesn't, my personal conclusion is the purpose of the metaverse, based on what does work from what's there now, is to connect us to people and to places and to information and to services and to experiences for entertainment, knowledge acquisition, self-improvement, and companionship. That's it. And that's important stuff. It's like the meaning of life is kind of in that. So for me, yeah, the metaverse has a really powerful purpose to connect us to things. Kind of a flashback to the connecting people motto that Nokia used to have. But then let's talk about the nature of the metaverse, how we experience it, and what are going to be the most powerful actual experiences. Now, virtual reality, augmented reality, the virtual reality image is so much more compelling because, of course, when everything's digital, everything is possible. But, and don't get me wrong, I love virtual reality. I think I've got 4 headsets at home. I have used virtual reality for fitness every day since 2018. And I mean, I love VR. However, when you put on a VR headset, this happens. You cut yourself off from the rest of the world, and it's as though you are going into a movie theater. That is not a bad experience. Going to the movies is great. But you are separated from the rest of the world, and while your experience in there may be wonderful, you are not going to spend all day in there, and you're not going to spend every day in there. You'll probably go there a few times a week, honestly. Whereas with augmented reality, you remain in the physical world. You remain connected to the physical world. And if we're, yeah, and so I personally see that augmented reality is going to long-term be the more influential and more widely used variant of the metaverse. If you look at VR headset sales, I think that VR headsets are going to remain a niche device, very much like gaming consoles. The people who have them will use them, will swear by them, can't live without them, but not everyone will fall into that category. And so, but what's really interesting though is if we look at the hardware that people are using for the metaverse actions right now. And so here's all these different kind of both metaverse and metaverse adjacent kinds of experiences. All of these are places where the digital and the physical come together. And, and basically the PC is used for everything. And consumer VR headsets in there too, but yeah, a lot of stuff shows up on smartphones, and a lot of stuff shows up, so smartphones and tablets, and one of the realities is that even things that were initially created in virtual reality, wonderful experiences, the people who developed them realized that they were not getting enough traction, but just being on VR, and so, for example, spatial. They added a PC client, and now 70% of their users are coming in through the PC. Rec Room, they've actually got them, they're on every platform. 5 to 10% of their users are being used, coming in through a VR headset. And then the one that really makes me cry is Steam VR, which is one of my favorite. I love Steam gaming in VR. Half-Life Alyx, oh yeah. 2%. 2% of Steam users are using a VR headset. That's just really sad. Okay, so when people hear the word metaverse, quite often they're instantly thinking of that fully virtual reality experience, and that's actually just not the case. In fact, if we look at this again and look at number of users in each one of these categories, and this is a finger in the wind, orders of magnitude estimate, I want to be really clear here, but this is the picture that we have, right? The majority of metaverse experiences are happening in gaming platforms and on smartphones. And in fact, the biggest one is consumer augmented reality, Instagram filters, Snapchat lenses, and that's metaverse adjacent, but it's really important because it's training billions of people to mingle the digital and the physical on a daily basis. And that is going to be one of the keys to unlocking the metaverse, having people accustomed to that idea, expecting that idea. And so where we at Nokia, where we're really into this, is because the change that is coming is that one, where we actually have a consumer augmented reality headset that is absolutely fabulous and that people start using as their main computer interface rather than having their eyes dead-ending on that little screen. And that's the shift that we're expecting over the next decade, and that's where the connectivity stuff starts getting a lot more important. And yeah, so that's what I'm really excited about. So that's why I'm here. And so my definition of the metaverse is it's a partly or fully digital experience, and it's partly is to get augmented reality in there as well, that brings together people, places, and information in real time in a way that transcends what's possible in the physical world alone, in order to solve a problem. And that's to get rid of the orange Luxembourg useless metaverses. I'm relentless on that. It has to have a purpose. And so, but also presence is more important than immersion. And for me, because getting you together with the information while you're in the physical world is as important as being in a fully immersive environment. And yeah, so I think that physical world link is actually going to be really key. But another really important thing to remember is if we look at the history of the development of the internet, the first commercial hardware for an internet-like experience came in 1977, where it was the Trinity, the Apple II, one of the first Commodore, they all came out in 77. TCP/IP, the ability to actually move a file from one computer to another, didn't come till 6 years later. I mean, the basic stuff that we totally take for granted did not just all appear magically. It developed slowly over a course of time. And so we, the mobile internet, which is really the democratization of the internet globally, really comes about in 2007. 30 years. Where are we on the metaverse? Well, we're here. The first commercial headset came out, about 5 minutes ago. We still don't even have the equivalent of TCP/IP right now. I mean, there's so much groundwork, infrastructure that's going to have to be developed. This is the time for the infrastructure building. And in a way, Mark Zuckerberg did us a favor and also didn't do this industry a favor by bringing so much attention to it way too early. I mean, we're all here, we're in the trenches, we're making this stuff happen. It's really important, we care, but you know what, it's still a little early. But thinking about what we call the hero device, because at Nokia, we really got hit hard on the networks, not by the first iPhone, not by the second iPhone, but by the third iPhone, the iPhone 3 in 2009. That was the first one that was 3G, and that was the first one that had 3G and the App Store together. And that was the one where people suddenly, overnight, started using massive amounts of mobile data. And we had been telling the phone companies, you've got to build your data networks, you've got to build your data networks. And they were saying, we make all our money from voice. This data thing seems to be kind of threatening to us. I swear to God, those were the conversations. And then suddenly, the iPhone 3 comes out, everybody's using mobile data. The AT&T network in Manhattan crashed. The O2 network in London crashed because they were not able to handle the data traffic. So this is why, we're really concerned about being prepared for the hero device. And so we're always like, okay, what's the thing that's going to be out there that's going to crash the networks? Now, a hero device, actually, though, because we're still so early, it needs a hero use case. And, looking back to the history of the mobile phone, the original mobile phone did one thing. It made a voice call. That's it. There's no text messaging. There wasn't even Snake. It was just making phone calls. But it solved the problem of what happens when somebody calls you and you're away from your desk. Great, very useful. People started carrying this device. Over time, with more people carrying them, more features are added. Very positive, virtuous cycle. That's what I was trying to think of. Virtuous cycle, and the next thing you know, not next thing you know, 20 years later, we have the smartphone. So, what could possibly be the use case for the hero device for a commercial augmented reality device? Now, I thought the Nreal presentation this morning was excellent. And I was actually surprised to hear how many people, or what the repetition rate is for people to see a video kind of in front of them in their space. It's like, okay, maybe. But to me, that is not a massive problem solver. And it's not solving that problem of I'm looking at a screen instead of the people around me. I think a much better solution is, or more likely candidate, is something around sensory enhancement. Because glasses sit here next to your eyes and here next to your ears. And now last year at Google's developer conference, almost exactly a year ago now, they dropped this video with no commentary. We still don't know anything about this. We don't know if it's a product. We don't know if it's real. But in this video, they show glasses with no wire on them that are doing real-time subtitles as people are speaking to each other. And both in English and in translating, because Google has the Google Translate functionality, you speak English and then it's translated into another language for the person who's seeing the subtitles. Now, solving a problem. Okay, first of all, I like watching TV with the captions on. My hearing's fine, but sure, captions for everyday life, sure, that would be fun. My elderly mother has hearing aids. Hearing aids suck. They are super expensive and really tiny. And when you have your 88-year-old mother, I think I lost my hearing aid again. I was like, oh my God. And so, yeah, give her something, give people with hearing disabilities or challenges another way to approach this, another way to solve this problem. If these glasses cost less than $5,000, I'm in for mom. I'm seeing I'm not alone here. Yeah, solving the problem. So something in the sensory enhancement realm. I don't know if it's going to come from Google, Oh, Krista, you look like you want to say something.
I just met the guy here who has this app. It's called XRAI.glass. So he's already created it.
Beautiful. Okay, great. I thank you. I'm going to look that up. All right. And so, I'm not saying that this is the thing, but I think something like this that everybody can instantly relate to and go, yeah, I see the utility in that. That solves a problem for me. Because it's going to be a big ask to get people to put a computer on their faces, let's be honest. But something that is very useful, that'll do it. Because the vision of the metaverse that chimes most with me is Niantic's vision of the metaverse, which is I'm in the world and I'm walking through the world and I am actually getting information overlaid onto the world around me. And then, of course, generative AI changes everything. Ori said it this morning. XR is the interface for AI, and he's really right. For those of you who haven't seen this before, right after ChatGPT came out, these couple of Stanford students created RizGPT. And so what they did was they took the Brilliant Labs monocle and they hung it on a pair of glasses, and then they recorded the conversation, sent it over to ChatGPT, and had ChatGPT send back what you should say to the person next. This idea of having generative AI real time giving you information is going to be huge. This could be the thing that really blows the door off the metaverse. Because sure, getting text like this, that's fine. That's one thing. But for me, the really powerful thing is OpenAI's Codex program, which came out a couple of years ago. And that writes code. You use natural language to describe the program you want it to build, and it writes code for you. So if you imagine, I've got my glasses and I'm walking around, and I'm like, oh, I would like to have a program that does this thing that just occurred to me right now. Hey, glasses, write this program. Ding, ding, ding. Done. We have just disrupted the entire App Store. This is the democratization of computing, integrated with you and your daily life every moment that you're wearing these things. This is where this is going, and it's so fabulous. It's so fabulous. So just to close, because Sophia's over here ready to knock me off the stage. So you've gone back in time. It's 1993. You meet yourself. How do you finish this sentence? This internet thing, it's going to be huge. The one thing you should do right now is what? Now, a lot of people say at this point, oh, invest. But, it's a little, we're early. We're in the infrastructure period. And so, maybe investing in like Qualcomm or something. But the thing, you've gone back in time. It's now 2023. You meet yourself. How do you finish this sentence? This metaverse, this mixed reality thing is going to be huge. The one thing you should do right now is what? So whatever you should have done or would have done for the internet with regard to yourself in 1993, that's what you should be doing around the metaverse right now. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir in this group, but for me, it was about, I ignored the internet when it came out. This time, I am throwing myself all in, learning it, living it, experiencing it. Because it's only when we experience these things directly that we can understand the possibilities and get the good ideas. Because you know what? The time to file patents is now. Get the good idea and go file that patent. And then, shameless plug, available for pre-order on Amazon right now, and official publication date June 7th. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.